Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. This book is, I would say, out of all the leadership books out there, this has changed the leadership section of the bookstore. I remember whenever John C. Maxwell's got so many great leadership books, but it all started when he had this book. It came out and everybody just went bananas, man. Everybody was like, oh my God, this is the best leadership book of all time. Everybody was so excited about that. And now he's had, I would say he's probably got about 40 or 50 books right now on leadership, and probably even more than that. But this was the book, right? This was the book that really did it all. And it's such a classic. And it's about these irrefutable laws that some people have them, some people need to work on some of them. And when you follow these laws, people will follow you, right? And it's such an amazing book. And tonight, I'm going to real briefly touch on these laws. Not going to go into great detail, but at the end of this training tonight, for everybody on here, I've got a special surprise. I'm so excited about giving you the audios of the original workshop that he did on each law. And this audio training that I'm going to be giving you, you can't get your hands on it. Like if you're like, man, I'm gonna go buy that right now, it's not going to happen. You're not going to find it. It's not available. And the reason being is because it was never made. Okay. Now, what I mean by that, someone's like, dude, what are you talking about? Tim, it was never made. How are you gonna give us something that never happened? Well, the reason being is because it's VHS videos that he made in 1997, and I ripped them to digital and we converted them to audio. And I'm telling you right now, these audios are like, nobody has them. Like you guys literally are going to have like a gold mine because they're not even available, right? No one has them because they were never made, right? It just sounds so crazy, but I'm really excited tonight about this. And I'm just going to touch on these, do your own homework on these. I can tell you right now, the book's amazing. The audiobook's really great too as well. He's got obviously DVDs and he's got tons of different trainings on it, but the VHSs from the 1997, this training, he was on fire. Like John C. Maxwell was just absolutely on fire. And I can't wait to get these audios to you later on in the training. So first off, let's talk about the law of the lid. The law of the lid is really the number one law. And he says, leader's ability determines a person's level of effectiveness, right? So how effective you're going to be is going to be determined not so much by your dedication. It's not how hard you work. It's your leadership level, right? So when you're really effective at anything that you do, it comes down to obviously dedication. But what I can share with you is that when your leadership lid is high, your level of effectiveness, you have a greater impact. So you want to realize you want to develop your leadership level, your leadership level or your leadership lid and grow your lid and be a lid lifter for others. And when you look at being a lid lifter for others, how do you make that happen? You got to get people into an environment where they can grow, which is obviously coming up right now. We all know right now, the big thing that's happening right now is obviously getting everybody to the roadmap event. Riman's a show business, not a tell business. I think everybody would agree with that, right? Riman's a show business, not a tell business. Let me show you how to do it. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. The way that I lead is listen to me carefully, but watch me even closer, right? If you wanted to learn how to do, and have the success we have, if you just watch what I do on a daily basis, your success is always going to be found in your daily agenda, right? We know that, but you want to show people how to do it. And that's why every leader right now is committed to the roadmap event they want to get everybody there so they can raise the lid of their entire team. And when you're committed to the event, your team's going to be committed to the event. So you want to be a lid lifter and you want to raise that lid. And how you're going to raise that lid is super simple, by being at the being at the roadmap event, but more importantly, getting your team to the roadmap event. Okay. Now, law number 2 is the law of influence, right? And basically leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less, right? And when you look at the leadership law of the influence, it says the true measure of leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less, right? And setting an example is not the main means of influence. This is Albert Einstein. This guy was apparently pretty sharp back in the days, right? But he said, setting an example is not the main means of influencing others. It's the only means. So when if you want to lead others, you got to set the tone, you got to set the pace, you got to set the example. And there's no better way to be able to set an example than doing what, right? Getting yourself committed right now to obviously the roadmap event. Every leader right now has that catch me if you can attitude, right? The more committed I am to the roadmap event, the greater my level of influence will be on my team to be able to do the same. That's what everybody realizes, right? I want to be able to, if I'm 100% in no matter what, I know that I'm going to attract other people that are going to be committed. But if I'm like, yeah, it's kind of cool, you maybe should go. I'm gonna, I think I'm going to probably go. You're not going to be able to influence many people because that commitment level isn't there. So you want to be committed, but more importantly, right now, you want to start some new lines of business, right? You get a couple new legs going right now. We're still about what? About a little bit less than two months out. So we got about a 50-day, 50, 60-day, 50, 45, 50-day run going into this conference. Okay. You want to start new lines now, man. You get a couple new teams going, right? You get 3 or 4 new legs started and, growing, and you get those legs, get those teams out to the event, man. Your team is going to come out of this event absolutely on fire, right? We know that. Okay. And everybody's doing that right now. Now, the law of the process, this is law number 3, and this is a great one. I think John knocked it out of the park with this one because, when you look at the process, the law process says leadership develops daily, not in a day, right? You can't microwave a leader, right? You can't microwave a leader. You got to crock pot them, right? You got to crock pot them. You got to slow cook them, and realizing that when you have success in anything, it's going to be because of your ability to really embrace failure. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's the path to success, right? So the more failure, the faster you fail and you learn from it, the better off you're going to be. And I know a lot of people think, oh, you're either good at something or you're bad at something. And there's nothing, that's probably the least truest statement on earth. How you get good at anything is by practicing it and doing it and learning from your mistakes. And that's why it's not, leadership doesn't happen overnight, right? When I give you these audios at the end of the training, some of you are going to be like, oh man, I'm going to download them. And then you're going to be like, all right, I'm going to start listening to them on Monday. And then Monday is going to come around and you're going to be like on Tuesday. And some of you, oh man, I'm telling you what, on Thursday, I'm going to really start listening to those. And really what I want to encourage you to do is to really throw yourself into leadership development, because you start listening to those audios and start understanding the audios and learning from the audios. What'll happen is your leadership, you're engaging in the process, right? So always understand, events are where you make decisions, right? Events are where people make decisions. When you come to the event that's going to be happening at the Roadmap Convention, you'll make a decision there, right? Everybody that's there is going to make a commitment. They're going to say, you know what? It's time. I'm going to engage in the process. I'm going to get committed. I'm going to go all out. I'm going to run hard. I'm going to make it happen. And those decisions are made at the event. But the process of going from where you are to where you want to be, that's what you've got to understand is a process. It's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to walk into the Roadmap event and then walk out a millionaire, okay? But you're going to walk into the Roadmap event and you're going to make some decisions. And those decisions are only made at events. And when you walk out of the event, you've made that true decision, you've made that commitment, and it's going to show up in your habits coming out of the event, right? So you got to realize that when it comes to understanding, the event is the mother of the process. And I think that's the best way of putting it, right? The event is the mother of the process. The commitment is made at the Roadmap event to engage in the process. That process is how you transform your life. So we want to make sure we understand how the law of the process works. And then when you take a look at law of navigation, anybody can steer a ship, but it takes a leader to chart the course, right? That's what John C. Maxwell says, is he says, anyone can steer a ship, but it takes a leader to chart the course, right? The secret to the law of navigation is preparation. I think that's the smartest. I love that because it's absolutely the key. You've got to be prepared. When you prepare well, you convey confidence and trust in people. Leaders who are great at navigating, right? Good navigators are capable of taking teams just about anywhere, right? You want to take a group of people and help them get to the top. You got to navigate them away from the leadership landmines, right? And how do you get them how do you get somebody to be able to stay away and to steer them clear of those landmines that are going to happen all the time when you're growing a leader? Well, the key is get them into the Roadmap event. I mean, when you get people to the Roadmap event, you understand that that's how you're going to be able to make it happen. Because I call it the 5 Ps, right? Proper preparation prevents poor productivity. Oh, poop productivity. There you go. That's a funny typo. Okay, so there you go. Poop productivity. Let's just do it. Oh my God. Out of all the typos, that's hilarious. Man, that's funny, man. That's a good one. But but the proper preparation prevents poor productivity, or obviously poop productivity is now a reality. But once you build for the roadmap event, right? The roadmap, and you're committed for the roadmap event, and it's obvious to everybody, right? It's going to show that you're a goal setter, right? You're a goal getter, right? Not a a bullesser, right? You're committed. You're going to make it happen. And it's when you focus on developing people. So many times we get so focused in on, oh, I got to get customer sales. I got to get new people started. I got to get customer sales. I got to do one-on-ones all day long. I've got to do presentations. I got to do this. I got to tell the story. 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 And we know that that's our job, right? Our job is to tell the Riman story. You know what I mean? So I tell the tiger grass story, I call it, the tiger grass conversation, right? I have that conversation all day long. That's my job. But you've got to realize it's not just about getting new people started. It's about developing new people. It's not how many people you have on your team. It's how many people are committed. I always tell people, if you gave me a choice between 1,000 customers and 1,000 planners, I'll take the 1,000 customers. And I know what you're thinking. Well, Tim, you're big on recruiting. Why do you say you'd rather have 1,000 customers than 1,000 planners? Well, if you said to me, Tim, would you rather have 1,000 team leaders or 1,000 customers? I'll take the team leaders. I'm looking for leaders. Okay, make no mistake about it. When I get somebody started, I'm trying to fast track them to becoming a leader. And when I build a team leader, I tell them right from the beginning, man, your company asks for 3 legs, you want to have 10. Because if you want to make the big money as a team leader, you want to have 10. I look at these team leaders and they're like, man, I got 3 legs running. I'm just thinking to myself, you literally don't understand math. Like you must not be very good at math, right? Because if you've got 3 legs going and I got 10 legs going, I'm going to blow you out of the water. People always ask us, how did you hit national director so fast? Well, we had 10 legs running. When we had 10 legs, running right from the beginning. So all those 10 legs were like, man, I want to be one of your 4 leaders. It takes 4 leaders to get to the top, right? To the top rank of the company. Soon they're going to invent another position. It'll probably take 8 legs, right? I don't know how many it's going to take, but all I know is I'm going to be prepared, right? Because my goal is to get 20 legs of directors and higher, right? In the next, 12 to 36 months, right? That's what 12 to 24 months. Like in the next year to 2 years, I want to have 20 legs of directors. So in order to be able to do that, only way I'm going to be able to create a leader is to get them in that environment where they're going to make a decision to become successful. So it's not just about getting new people started, but about getting them in the environment where they make that decision to become a top leader, right? And it's only going to happen at the roadmap event, okay? So when you talk about the law of addition, this is a new one. So what he did in the first book, I'm going to just tell you guys real quickly. He wrote 221 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. This was the original, the OG original, okay? This was the revision he made 10 years later, okay? And he revised it and updated it. And this book is sold. This is back in the day, man. It's. I would love to find out how many he sold of that. But he sold over 3 million whenever that new one came out. But what I want to tell you is this is one of the new laws. So what he did is he took a couple laws in the first one, and he combined them together. And then he created a couple new laws. So the law of addition is one of the newer laws. So I'm going to be talking about the newer laws here today. But the law of addition says leaders add value by serving others. Okay. You add value by serving others. To add value to others, first, I love what John C. Maxwell says. To add value to others, one must first value others. How magical is that? Right? If you want to add value to somebody's life, you first must value them. Okay. And that's the reason why, like a lot of you that your uplines told you, man, you got to get on this call. You got to get on this call. That says they care about your success, right? That says they want to grow you as a person. They want to add value to your life. Okay. That's the type of leader that I want to follow, right? I don't want a leader that's like, you don't have to be on a leadership call. You just need to be on the calls that are when you have guests. I'm trying to grow leaders, right? I'm trying to add value to others' lives to make them better, right? And if you get better people and you grow your people, guess what's going to happen? If you're growing your people are going to become better. So we've got to grow people. And when you the law of addition, right? Leaders add value by serving others. The leadership lesson here is if you value your people, you want to develop them as leaders, right? You want to develop them as leaders, right? If you want to develop your team, right? 100% they must be at the roadmap event. So the people that are like, man, you got to be at the roadmap event no matter what, right? This is where you're going to see the big picture of what we're doing at Riman. And you can't miss this event, right? There's only 2 conventions a year, right? And you're not, this is the last one of 2025. I got to make sure no matter what that you're there. And when you're talking to people like that, you're what you're doing is you're showing them that you care about them. You care about their success, that you want to get them to the event. That's the most important thing, is getting people to events, right? The law of solid ground. I love this one. The law of solid ground. Trust is the foundation of leadership, right? And John C. Maxwell talks about the leadership house, right? Character is the foundation, right? The skills can be developed, right? A lot of you right now, you're like, man, I got to get better at presenting. I got to get better I've got to get better at sharing the story, right? Sharing the message. I got to talk to more people. I got to get more committed. And we're making all those decisions. But the key is if you've got the integrity, right? You've got the character. And integrity is a clear correspondence between your words and your actions. See, when what you say and what you do are in alignment, that's integrity. So when you say, man, I want to have something so bad, but yet you don't do what's required to get there, there's no integrity, because your words don't match your actions. So, and Jim Rohn said that a long time ago in a leadership training. I thought, Jim, that's great, man. So I just shared in this law of solid ground, but it's all about growing people, right? And you got to have people have got to trust you. And when you let them know that, man, I've got to get you this roadmap event, they know you can be trusted. Why? Because you're not like just trying to, you got to get started and you got to get in and you got to go recruit some people so I can get some more volume so I can hit ranks. Wrong. That's not how you win in Riman. How you win in Riman is growing people, right? Getting them committed, okay? And helping them realize that whenever they make a commitment to be at the event, and somebody says, man, I'm going to get committed to the roadmap event, what's going to happen after that? They're going to try to rank advance before the event. So the next 60 days, they're going to be running on fire, right? So I love DWISYWD, right? Do what you say you will do, right? And you got to tell the truth. If you want to be an effective leader, you've got to tell the truth. And if you're keeping the roadmap event a secret from your team, then you're not telling the truth, okay? Your team deserves to know how the roadmap event can change your life. If you're not talking about the roadmap event nonstop, you're not telling the truth. If you're not telling people about how the roadmap event's going to get them to where they want to go, and they've got to make sure no matter whether they're there and they got to make sure their team is there, you're not telling them the truth. You're not. You're keeping the truth a secret, right? You have to share the truth. You have to allow people to hear the truth. And the only way somebody can hear the truth is if you share it. So we've got to be telling the truth, right? We got to let everybody know. Law of respect. I love this one, right? The law of respect. People naturally follow leaders that are strong themselves, okay? So whenever a group gets together, people don't really know who the leader is. And then as soon as people are going to start changing directions to follow the strongest leader, and then people will naturally align themselves and follow leaders that are strong themselves. So you've got to be a strong leader, right? You've got to be a strong leader. And I'm not saying, okay, cool, let's all go to the gym at 8 a.m. tomorrow. What I'm saying is, when I say strong, is you've got to tell people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. If you're like, well, I don't want to tell my people to be at the event, they're going to be like, oh my God, it's going to cost me like $400 to fly to Vegas and then hotel room. Oh my God, that's terrible. I'm not trying to save people money. I'm trying to make people money, right? I'm trying to help people become wealthy, right? I'm not trying to, I'm not cutting coupons and sending them to my distributors. It's like, let's get rich, okay? Let's become wealthy. So people are going to respect you if you have a backbone, not a wishbone, right? So you need to tell people basically what? You got to be at the event, right? You've got to be committed, right? That's the key. So when you look at the leadership lesson, are you a toe dipper, right? Or a goal hitter, right? People can't follow in your footsteps if your feet aren't moving, right? People cannot follow in your footsteps if your feet aren't moving. It's kind of like, it doesn't matter how good you are at driving a car if you're sitting there neutral, right? You got to get into first. Some of you are in reverse, got to get out of reverse and get into first. Got to get into first gear. So make a declaration in your heart right now that says, I'm committed to the roadmap event no matter what. I'm going to be at the event no matter what. Over, under, through, I'm going to be at that event, right? And when you have that type of commitment, you have that type of that type of I don't even want to just say commitment, because it's more of a conviction that I'm going to be there and I'm going to make sure that my team is there. When you have that type of backbone, man, people are going to want to follow you, right? So law of intuition. This is a tough one for a lot of people because it takes probably the longest to learn. But the law of intuition, leadership evaluates everything from a leadership bias. And Leroy Imes wrote a book, Be the Leader You Were Meant to Be. And in that book, he says, a leader is one who sees more than others sees, who sees farther than others see, and who sees before others sees. That's a leader. That's a leader. So a lot of you realize, man, you got started in Riman because you saw it, because you're a leader. You see it first. You see that vision of, man, I want to be a part of taking this company to $10 billion a year and competing with Amway and competing with these big companies out there. Well, let's take this thing. And you saw, wait a second, they've got the tiger grass, right? The giant tiger grass, right? We've got the water from the volcano. We've got the best products on the planet. We got 150,000 square foot smart farm. We got beautiful packaging. Got a compensation plan's out of control right now. I was explaining to somebody the compensation. I said, look, they added 22% in the unilevel payout. Okay, that's great. But also realize we have 85% matching bonus on top of that 22%. Add 22% plus 85% of 22%. What is that, like 36%? What is that? That's ridiculous to what it is. It's an insane amount of payout right now. They just added to the comp plan. But guess what? It's not going to affect the people that aren't building it the right way. You've got to build a business wide, right? You want to have 10 legs running and teach your 10 to do the same thing, get 10. If you teach 10 to get 10, who get 10, who get 10, who get 10, you're going to be, if you do that 6 levels down, everybody's doing 1,000 BP a month, talking about 400,000 in income, 450,000 in income. So you build it the right way from the beginning. You don't go back and be like, all right, I need to get 10 legs running. Start now. If you're brand new, start now, right? If you're within your first year or two and you're brand new in Riman, start building 10 legs now, man. Let's go. Let's get it going. And you might like, how do I need to build one first? Well, you start running, get 10, your team's going to be like, wow, look at what you're doing. And they're going to do the same thing. So always remember, everybody evaluates everything from a leadership bias. Every leader in Riman's number one focus right now is the roadmap event, right? It's kind of like if you use a magnifying glass and you move it around over a pile of dry paper, all right? If you're moving it around, you won't even get a spark. But if you keep that magnifying glass still and focus the beam and harness the sun, that pile of papers will ignite immediately. That's what focus does, right? When you're focused, all I'm focused on right now is getting everybody to understand, get new people to the event. Start building new lines of business and get those new people to the roadmap event. Because if you get newer legs there, those legs are going to come out running, and that's how you're going to be able to build massive momentum, right? And do something great. Because everybody right now wants to be a team leader before the event. Everybody's running for team leader right now because they want to go to that leadership training on Friday afternoon at 2 to 6. Everybody's running. But it's not just about getting to team leader. It's about having a solid foundation so you can cash in. I love that when you become a team leader. Law of magnetism, right? I love this one, right? The law of magnetism. Who you are is who you attract. I love what Jim said, right? To attract attractive people, you must be attractive, right? To attract powerful people, you must be powerful. To attract committed people, you got to be committed. So instead of going to work on your team, go to work on yourself. If you become, you can attract. You see that? To people, how do you motivate your team, Tim? I just run. I just do, and I just tell them, here's what I'm doing, right? Here's what I'm doing. You know, last month, I think we were the number one director, number one senior director, number one national director. Why? Because we're just doing the right thing. So all the directors are like, what do I do right now? Well, just do what Tim's doing. What's he doing? He's sharing the Riman opportunity. He loves people and cares about them and wants them to find out about this amazing opportunity. I'm not stingy with my opportunity. I'm not selfish with my opportunity. I want to share Riman with the world, right? I don't want anybody to be walking around with all these wrinkles on their face or walking around worried about finances. I want to show them a way to change your face, change your finances. Put this product on your face, look sexy, share the message, and then help, and become successful. So I love what we're doing. And you've got to understand you're gonna track who you are, right? So be that person, lead from the front. And when you look at it, right, we attract not what we want, but who we are. And the commitments are contagious. I think it was who was it? Billy Graham, who says, right, whenever somebody takes a stance, often the spines of others are often stiffened, right? So you've got to take a stance, right? You've got to say, you know what, this is it. I'm going to the top. Over, under, or through. I'm going to get committed to leadership development. I'm going to take these audios that you're going to give me at the end of this, and I'm going to listen to them, right? I'm going to listen to them nonstop, and I'm going to grow myself, right? I'm going to grow myself. So just realize we've got to make a commitment, no matter what, over, under, through, and then people are going to follow you, right? People can't follow in your footsteps if your feet aren't moving, right? Let's go. Let's make it happen. Law of connection. This is a big one. Oops, I pushed the wrong button. Law of connection. What does that say? Okay. The law of connection. Leaders touch a heart before they ask for a hand. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. How do you show somebody how much you care? This is the biggest thing I want you to understand. If you tell people that no matter what, you got to be at the event, man, listen to me right now when I tell you we got to get you to the event no matter what. We got to get your plane tickets booked. We got to get your hotel booked. And you're telling people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. It shows you care about them. Because they know whenever you get them to the event, it's not like the airlines are going to break you off or the Rio Hotel's breaking you off or you're getting a piece of anything. You don't get paid to get people to the event. You get wealthy by getting people to the event. Because if you can get people to the event, they're going to come out of there as you're going to get them committed to becoming leaders, right? So you got to care about people and connect with them. Let them know that you care about them. How do you let them know you care about them? Getting them to the event, right? Because they're going to walk out of that event like, I can't believe this, man. This is the best event ever. So I would, if your neighbor's house is on fire, would you let them know? Right? Would you tell them about it? And that's the biggest thing. As we talk about the roadmap event, look at everybody as they say, help me, written on their forehead. If somebody's like, man, you know what? Money's tight. It's like, dude, then you got to get to the roadmap event. If you're tight on money, you got to get to the roadmap event. Why? So you can come out of there and not have to worry about money anymore. You know, because if not, they're going to fall behind 6 months minimum if they miss the event, right? And I tell people, you're not even really in Riman until you've been to one of the big conventions yet, okay? And everybody knows that, right? The law of the inner circle, leadership's potential is determined by the people closest to them. The inner circle, right? I love what Jim Rohn says about the inner circle. This is one of the most powerful messages. And I'm a big Jim Rohn fan, but he says, the inner circle, right? Inspire them and they'll inspire you. If a father walks out of the house and can still feel the kiss of his daughters, if he can still feel his daughter's kiss on his face all day, he's a powerful man. If a husband can walk out of the house and still feel the imprint of his wife's arms around his body, he's invincible all day long. The great prophet once said, there are many virtues and values, but here's the greatest value: one person caring for another. There's no greater value than love. And when you care about somebody, you're going to tell them to get to the event, right? If you want to see people succeed, you're going to get them to the event, right? And I love my leadership lesson in this one is this: set the pace. You got to be a pace setter. Everyone is committed to the roadmap event so they can inspire the people closest to them, right? It's like, and when you're just talking about the roadmap event, I can't wait for this event, man. This event's going to be amazing. People are like, dang, you know what? This person's on fire, and they're going to want to follow you because they know that you're a leader. Okay, the law of empowerment, right? Everybody knows, right? Only secure leaders give the power away to others, right? Before you're a leader, success all about growing yourself, but when you become a leader, success all about growing others. Jack Welch. Before you're a leader, success all about growing yourself, right? But when you become a leader, success all about growing others. And you know, Jack Welch, one of the greatest CEOs, right? I think it was what was it? General Electric, right? I think it was a GE. He was a great one. And what we know for sure to be true is people who say it cannot be done should never interrupt the ones that are doing it, right? As soon as you build event to event, you will empower other people, other else to be able to grow as leaders. If you're like, well, I don't want my people to go to the event because then they're going to be leaders. Like, there's literally people like that try to hold people back from maximizing their greatness. It's like, all I care about is getting people there so they can grow and develop and change. I want people to be successful. I don't want to hold anybody back from becoming their best version of themselves. So you got to realize that you've got to make sure that no matter what, you care about people, right? And you don't accept excuses. You make it happen no matter what. Law number 13, the law of the big picture. Okay. This is a big one, right? The law of the big picture. People do what people see. Your team is always watching what you do. Okay. It's easier to teach what's right than to do what's right. We should work on changing ourselves before trying to improve others. The most valuable gift a leader can give is a good example. The best gift you can give as a leader is a good example. And when you think about that, it's like leaders live in a fishbowl, right? And leaderships live in a fishbowl. And what we know is, for good or bad, our team is watching every move that we make. We want to be 100% committed, right, to the roadmap event, because they're going to follow our lead. If they know you're 100% in about the roadmap event and all you're doing is focusing on getting your people there, I'm telling you right now, your team is going to light on fire. People are like, how do you create momentum, Tim? It's super simple. You get full committed about the roadmap and you just promote for roadmap. And if you're promoting for the roadmap event all the time, your team is going to grow because they're going to want to be like, man, I got to rank up before that event. Then they're going to start running for team leader. They're going to run for senior manager, whatever it might be, manager, whatever. They're going to run because they're committed to the event. Okay. And obviously they're going to see the director promotions and get fired up. The law of the buy-in. This is a big one, right? The law of the buy-in. People buy into the leader, then the vision. Okay. And he gives some examples in the book here. He says, if they buy into the leader, right? It says they don't buy into the leader and they don't buy into the vision, they get another leader, right? But if they don't buy into the leader and they buy into the vision, they get another leader. But if they buy into the leader and they don't buy into the vision, they'll just get another vision. But this is what he says. When they buy into the leader and they buy into the vision, they get behind the leader. Leadership buy-in. People have got to know you are in. Like, they have to know you're in. Like, you're in it to win it. They've got to feel that, right? They've got to feel that you're committed. And I love this. Remember this. I'm sure some of you saw this back in the days. I think it was a video going around probably 10, 15 years ago. And it was a dude that was just dancing at a concert by himself. And then he was just acting all crazy. It's a great video. And then he's acting all crazy. And then one guy's like, man, I'm gonna jump in there. And he starts dancing too. And then so a few more jump in, and a few more, and a few more. Finally, everybody's dancing with this guy going crazy. But how did he do that? Right? He just whipped himself into a frenzy, right? You got to whip yourself into a roadmap frenzy. In order for your team to buy into the roadmap frenzy, right? The roadmap event frenzy, you need to be the biggest believer in a roadmap event frenzy. You got to create a frenzy of everybody focusing on the roadmap event, building for the roadmap event. If you want to be an effective leader, that's the magic, right? If you buy in and you get everybody excited about it and you're 100% in, your team's naturally going to follow your lead, right? Because they can see that you are 100% in. The law of victory. This is a great one. We're finishing up here on the last few laws here, but the law of victory. Leaders find a way for the team to win. And I love what John says about this one in the book. He says, when the pressure's on, great leaders are at their best. Whatever's inside of them comes to the surface. And he says it works for them or against them. It works for them or against them. When you have that leadership, this law of victory under your belt, and you have the law of victory under your belt, and you have that type of mindset that says, I'm going to lead the team to victory no matter what, that's one of the best things that can happen to you, is that you get the law of victory under your belt. Because when you have that type of mindset, that law of victory mindset as a leader, guess what happens, okay? Everything great happens, okay? That's really what happens. But people are going to be afraid not to join you when they know that you know where you're going, okay? People will be afraid not to follow you if they know that you know where you're going. Every leader is so committed right now to the roadmap event to be able to lead their team to victory. That's the focus right now. Every leader is just 100% focused on the roadmap event because they know that's how they're going to be able to help their team grow. And the biggest one you talk about, law number 16, the law of the big mo, right? Law of the big mo. Momentum is a leader's best friend, right? Momentum is the great exaggerator, okay? And momentum makes leaders look better than they are. Momentum helps followers perform better than they are. Momentum is easier to steer than it is to start. Momentum is the most powerful change agent. Momentum is a leader's responsibility, and momentum begins inside of a leader. It's got to be inside of you, right? If you want to create momentum in your organization, it's super simple, right? Now, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's simple. You've got to be 100% committed. And when you're committed and people can feel your conviction, they can sense it, they can look into your eyes and they can tell that you're up to something. My God, what are you doing? They want to follow you, right? So momentum is key. And you got to have that give me the ball attitude, right? Every leader in Riman is committed to the roadmap event in order to be able to create massive momentum for their entire team. You got to have that give me the ball attitude, right? I'm ready to make it happen, right? I'm ready to set forth in motion the momentum that's going to transform my team and help my team become successful. And it's inside of you, right? And it's time to make it happen right now. That's the key. You talk about the law of priorities, right? The law of priorities is super simple, right? Leaders understand that activity is not necessarily accomplishment. 20% of your activity is going to give you 80% of your results. They call it the Pareto principle, right? This dude he had some principles. Focus on the 20% that give you 80% of the results, not the 80% that give you 20% of the results. That's why in Riman, like your main focus needs to be telling the story, right? If you're not telling a story, you're unemployed, right? You tell the Riman story to somebody how many times a day, right? If you're telling the Riman story, you're making it happen, right? But when you look at the priorities is you got to prioritize or you're going to agonize, okay? Every Riman leader right now's number one priority is getting everybody to the roadmap event. They know they have 60 days left. They got less than 60 days left to promote this thing, right? We got about 55 days left or 54 days left or whatever it is. We know, every leader knows it's time to get new lines started, right? Every leader right now in Riman's like, dude, we got to get new legs started so we can get them to the event so they can be on fire coming out of the event. Because at the event, decisions are made, right? To get committed to making it happen, okay? Law of sacrifice, we all know this one. The law of sacrifice, a leader must give up to go up, right? As you rise in leadership, your responsibilities increase and your rights decrease, okay? That's true leadership, okay? And when you look at it, it's super simple, right? You got to give up you got to give up to go up, right? You got to give up every leader right now has got to be giving up their fears, their doubts, excuses, and their limiting beliefs, and they've got to be running for the roadmap event. See, if you're running right now for the roadmap event, getting everybody to team leader so they can be in that leadership meeting on Friday, right, from 2 to 6, getting everybody running, in your organization right now to help them get to where they want to go. You can have everything in life you want if you help other people get what they want. And how do you help people get what they want? Number one, you got to know, but number two is you got to get them to the event so they can have it, right? They got to be able to, you got to get them to where they can become successful. Law of timing, I love this one. The law of timing, right? When to lead is as important as what to do and where to go. Wrong action, wrong time, disaster. Right action, wrong time, resistance. Wrong action, right time, mistake. Right action, right time, success. Timing is everything, right? With what, 55 days left to go, or 54 days left. I know somebody knows. All I can tell you right now, there's never been a better time right now than to start getting new legs going and getting them committed to the event, man. There's going to be some new people that come out of the event with their hair on fire, man. And you're going to hear stories about them at the next convention. You know, at the last convention, right? You know, you heard Brianna Michael get on stage and talk about how, you know, the last, when she had at the event, it was just her and her and one guest came to the event. And they came out of that event, started running, right? You know, the first event, it was just it was Brianna and a guest, right? They came out of that event running, man. And then boom, at the last event, man, they probably had 300-400 people from their team there. You know, Betsy's a prime example, right? The first event, the event before last event, she had 20 people there. And she came out of that event running like never before. She had about 220 at the last event. This event, Betsy's going to have over 500 people, right? Senior director, about to hit national director. How does it happen? By events. You understand? If you get your people to the events, your group is going to grow like wildfire. But if you wait till the last minute to be like, oh my God, you got to get to the roadmap event, you know, a week before, people can't be there. You got to prioritize or you're going to agonize, right? Law of timing, okay? And the timing is right now. There's never been a better time, right? With the most important event in 2025 around the corner, the urgency is over the top to get everybody committed to the roadmap event. Everybody's getting committed to the roadmap event. That's the commitment right now that everybody's making. 2 more laws and we're going to wrap this thing up. The law of explosive growth, right? To add growth, lead followers. To multiply growth, lead leaders. How do you multiply your growth? How do you grow your business exponentially? Right? If you're leading followers, you're just going to grow slowly. But if you're leading leaders, that's how your organization is going to multiply. That's multiplication versus addition is very powerful. And if you want to create a leader, you got to get them to the roadmap event. You got to get them to the roadmap event. Super simple, right? The law to attract, like attracts like. Everyone right now is running for the roadmap event right now because they know in order to be able to attract solid leaders, they must have a forward-leaning motion and be fired up like never before about the roadmap event and promoting like never before. That's what's going to create massive momentum for you and your organization. Law of the legacy, right? Last one here, and then we're going to wrap this thing up with a little bit of motivation, get you a little bit fired up here tonight. But the law of legacy, right? A leader's lasting value is measured by succession. A leader's lasting value is measured by succession. I love this one. People, and it says, this was in Mother Teresa's office in Calcutta, right behind her desk. It said, people are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Forgive them anyways. If you're kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyways. If you're successful, you'll win some false friends and some true enemies. Succeed anyways. If you're honest and frank, people may cheat you. Be honest and frank anyways. What you spend years building, somebody could destroy overnight. Build anyways. If you find serenity and happiness, they may be jealous. Be happy anyways, right? The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow. Do good anyways. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough, but give the world the best you have anyways. Because you see, in the final analysis, it's between you and your God. It was never between you and them anyways. Jackpot, like that's it. That's it. Like, bang, let's go. Let's do it. I mean, man, that's powerful. Let's just go out there and care about people and grow them, man. Let's get them there. And the reality is this, man, you want to be the king or queen. You don't want to be the king or queen. You want to be the king or queen maker. Everyone in Riman right now is building for the roadmap event so they can grow new leaders, right? Everybody that wants to be the king or queen maker. If you want to be able to create massive amounts of income and have the freedom to be able to do the things you want to do, you've got to build multiple lines of leaders, right? I'm going for 20 right now, right? Getting 20, I want to get 20 director lines, right? In the next 12 months. So in order to do that, I know I got to get a bunch of new people started and get them to this event so I can have them, I have people locked in that I can run with to get them to director. You understand? Like, you know, Jose Luis, right? You guys all, a lot of you guys know Jose Luis building in Mexico, but Jose Luis, the last event, we were scrapping to get people together to come to the event because we knew the announcement in Mexico was going. And I don't know, probably had about 15, 20 people there. This event will have about 250, 300 people at the event. But we just knew we had to get people to that event because they're going to come out of that event on fire, right? And now it's a bad day to be a wrinkle in Mexico, right? These guys are knocking wrinkles off people's face like never before. And it's all about developing leaders, right? It's all about developing king and queens, right? Getting it done, right? So you talk about the breakthrough, right? And that's the biggest thing. How do you experience a breakthrough? How do you have a breakthrough? How do you get a breakthrough? First thing is this. You got to ask yourself, right? Your attitude is so important. Your attitude is everything. Because let me give you an example, right? The next slide is going to be giving you, right, the free audios, okay, for you to be able to download, okay? Now, do you have the potential to push and take a screenshot and take those audios and download them? You have the potential to do that? Better believe it. Do you have the potential to listen to it and learn from it? Yeah, absolutely. You have the potential to do that. But whether you untap your potential or you waste your potential is because of your attitude, right? If you have a bad attitude, you're gonna waste your potential. If you have a great attitude, you're gonna tap your potential. See, when you have a good attitude, a great attitude, and you tap into your potential, what's available for you in your life, right? 30 years ago when I got started in direct sales, I was homeless, right? I was a 17-year-old kid, high school dropout, a failure, everything I'd ever done in my life. But when I got into this industry, they said that you can do these things, but you got to read some books. You got to make some changes. So I did it. I had the potential to read some books, but my attitude of gratitude is what made me tap into my potential. Being grateful for everything that's happening up to this point, because if it didn't happen the way that it did, you wouldn't be who you are today. And if you love who you are today, everything that's happened up to this point is perfect. It's perfect. Everything that's happened in your life is perfect. Somebody says, Tim, you don't know my story. I was abused. I was this. I was that. Guess what? You wouldn't be who you are today if those things didn't happen to you. You might be a different person. You might not even be here. So every challenge, every setback, every failure that I've had has brought me to where I'm at today. All the challenges I had growing up as a kid, being homeless, right? We moved here from Indiana. We lived in a car. We lived in the back of a truck. We lived in motels. We lived in people's garages. That's amazing because now I've got an unlimited mindset because in the back of my mind, that stuff is there. So it's like, man, you know what? We got to do this. We got to build we got to build a fortune. And when you have those things that are happening that are challenges, what do you grow from it? You either, you got to grow through it. Don't go through it. Anything you ever gone through, got to grow through it. Don't go through it. Learn and develop and change your life. But it's your attitude, man. What's your attitude look like? If your attitude is going to get you to tap into your potential, and when you tap into your potential, you're going to take the right activity steps. You're going to take the right action steps. And when you take the right action steps, you're going to get the right results. And Jim Rohn, when he taught this, he said, you're either in a spiral up or a spiral down. And it all starts with your attitude. He said, your attitude is going to determine the outcome of your life. Because if you have the right attitude, you're going to tap into your potential. Maybe you're like, man, I've already learned all that I can learn, Tim. Once you're red, you're rot. But when you're green, you're growing. The best version of you isn't even here yet. Imagine what that version of you is going to look like. But the only way to do it is to get committed to growth and development, right? And that's the reason why you want to take a screenshot of this right here, right now. This is the original. I spelled original wrong. So just, boom, there you go. Okay, I just made this earlier today. There you go. Original spelled wrong, okay? I already know there's going to be a couple other ones. I spelled poor as poop. So you guys know I said instead of poor, I put poop earlier on. And now I spelled original wrong, or I think that's spelled wrong. Anyways, scan this right here, okay? And guess what? Guess what? Download it and get committed to learning it. I promise you. I turn my car is a mobile classroom, right? I get into my car, I'm always listening to a voice of value. Okay, I'm not listening to the, hey, this is amazing new song out, right? I'm not listening to that. I'm listening to a voice of value. I'm listening to something that's going to transform. And so people can say, man, dude, you should see Tim now. I mean, he was good 10 years ago, but you should see him now. I don't want people to go, man, you should see Tim 30 years ago. Dude, the dude was good. Tim 30 years ago, man, that guy was on fire. But now he's lost it. I'm always trying to better my best. Okay. I'm always trying to better my best. I'm asking you to better your best. I'm asking you to realize that there's so much potential inside of you, but the only way to tap into it is through growth and development. Scan this, get the audios downloaded. Okay, get the audios downloaded and start listening to it. Start listening to it, okay? You might have to open it up on your computer, right? You might need to copy this and download, right? Scan it and then take that website and email it to yourself. I don't know how you're going to do it, but all I know is we got to make it happen, okay? So call to action, right? Have 5 guests on Monday's call. We got Jermaine Johnson, Christy Bellison, some of the best there is in the business. doing an overview together, getting people in for you. All weekend long, we're going to be doing pop-ups like crazy, right? All Saturday, all Sunday, we got pop-up after pop-up after pop-ups lined up. All those guests that get exposed, whether they get started or don't, no matter what, we got to get them on that Monday opportunity call, okay? As a second exposure, right? Qualify for the Help 3 Unlock their unit level promotion right now that's going on, okay? And then obviously you guys all know, register for the roadmap event, get your tickets for the roadmap event, get the, not just get the tickets, guess what, right? Your hotel, get your airline tickets booked, get everything dialed in for the roadmap event, and then obviously take full advantage of the Summer Splash promotion that ends tonight. Let's not let this moment in time slip through our fingertips. Let's take all out massive action. Let's make a commitment in our mind. What if we did that? What if we made a commitment in our heart that said, hey, look, you know what? I'm going to give it everything that I got. I'm going to get fully committed right now to the roadmap event, Tim. I'm going to give it everything that I got. Everybody that I get started on my team, I'm going to make sure that I talk to them about the roadmap event and stress to them about how important it is to get to the roadmap event. I'm not going to let anybody get left behind. Tim, I'm not letting anybody get left behind. I'm not going to let people miss out on this moment in time right now. I'm not going to let this moment in time slip through people's fingertips and them look back at their regret and said, I was in the right place, the right time, but I didn't take action. Can you imagine being there at the beginning of Microsoft? Can you imagine being there at the beginning of Apple, being at the beginning of Amway, one of these billion-dollar companies and incomes that were generated, right? You talk about Pete Best, right? Was the original drummer for the Beatles and he quit. And then they hired, they went after and recruited, Ringo Starr, right? All I'm telling you right now is this. Don't let this moment in time slip through your fingertips. Okay? Don't let this window of opportunity pass you by. Make a commitment in your mind and make a commitment in your heart that says, this is my time to do something special. You know what? This is my time to do something great, man. I'm going over, under, or through. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to be a success. I'm going to make my goals and dreams become a reality. This is it. This is my time. This is my chance. Let's lock arms right now, not let anybody get left behind. Let's start running like we've never ran before and start building up for the roadmap event. Get committed to listening to the John C. Maxwell audios. Let's develop like we've never developed before, and let's make it happen all together. So thanks for dialing in tonight. God bless you. Appreciate everybody's time. Let's make it happen, and let's go all out massive action, and let's make it happen together. God bless you guys. Thanks for joining us.